All right, everybody, what's up? We're back with the part 2, which is actually going to be 2 of 3 because this job is actually taking a lot longer than what I anticipated for several reasons I'll mention later throughout the video. After grinding everything down, and to grind it, what I was using is this 6-inch grinder, which is a lot better to use than anything smaller than this because it has potential to dig grooves and gouge its way into the rim. This one having a larger diameter, it's more stable. So when you're grinding, you can cover more surface without it digging into it, as opposed to using like a little 3-inch or 2-inch grinding disc, like the smaller 90 degrees. The only other tools was just a regular DA and a small sanding block. So most of the grinding was done because this is raw the damages. Most of it here, very little damage on these areas, okay? After that was just basically 80 grit and then 180. And all of that was done with the orbital sander. I did not use a sanding block until I was ready to create the brushed finish with 400 grit. So what you're seeing here, the paint area, this is just hand sanded with 400, you know, prior to priming it. All these chips that you get in here from removing an installation, these are all feathered out, and all these imperfections will be filled in with the 2K primer or primer surfacer, whatever you want to use. So this is what we're looking at. This is 180 grit with the DA. When you're doing this, you want to make sure you don't have, if you're sanding with 180, you want to make sure you're not seeing 80 grit scratches from your previous grit. You want to make sure you don't have any of that in here. When you follow up to go sand with the 400 grit block sand, you don't want to do this because you stop and you do this, you stop and you do this, you see those stopping points in the finish, okay? You want your strokes to be like this. If you have a small area where you see imperfections or sand scratches from the previous grit, you can stay there and work that out, and then just come and your finishing move is this. So what you'll get, these strokes, they're consistent. You can see it's one consistent scratch all the way down, okay? Some of these do have imperfections because I finished this yesterday late at night, and today I got plenty of days, so I'm definitely going to recheck it before I clear coat over it. I'll end up taping these off so I can do my primer and do my base, and right before I clear, I'll expose this and I'll clear it, because right now, even though this is aluminum is strong and it's also soft at the same time. It's sensitive to certain things, especially with the finish this precise. See that right there? See if I can zoom in on that. See that? That needs to be sanded out. Okay, even this edge here that you see that. You do it with the same 400 with the block, just keep going till it disappears. Okay? One thing that I found myself having to get artistic with is when I came to do the finish on the lip. Okay, it's a different direction from this, so I ended up having to tape it off. Let me see right here. You see where this continues. You can see where I had to put a piece of tape so I could sand this way and keep the line separated. Run a piece of tape and then come this way. So that's going to be something you're going to have to work with. You know, all these imperfections, I'm going to get them out. But this is the rim overall. It is a nice finish. Very, very close to factory. And this is 400 grit. If you were to go over this with something smoother like 600, you're going to start to get a mirror reflection on it. You go from 600 to maybe 800 or 1,000. Now you're polishing this, you know. After about 1,500, this is going to look like a mirror, and you could polish it. There is aluminum compounds for that. And you use an air tool with a 90 degree or maybe a 180 with the polishing wheel, you can polish this, but that's not what we're doing. in this episode, but you might consider it. It's, you know, something you can do for yourself. For me, I'm just gonna go with the brushed finish that was originally on the rim. This is an original Porsche rim from the factory. This is what came on the vehicle, but this is not bad. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is, my wife is here with me, hanging out. I'm gonna just have her hold the phone for me while I create the same finish on here. I'm just gonna do a set. Okay, I'm just gonna do a pair here so you can see how it's done and how it comes out, and then I'm gonna end this video so I can proceed, and hopefully the third video will be the final product. If it goes into a fourth, then it goes into a fourth, you know, more power. So I'm gonna hand this over to my wife so I can get going. So this is just the 400 sticky back continuous roll of 400, okay? Make sure you cover your block completely. This could have been a little bigger, but you might even, this edge is going to be important. If you have imperfections, you're actually going to put most of the pressure on this edge to get these imperfections out, but your final move, you want the block to be flat on the surface when you do your strokes. All right, so let's see, what's a good angle? Come over here. We're going to do this pair. Get close. Get close. I want to do this as legit as possible. Get close. I'm gonna do this set here because it's got a good angle with the light, and it's really gonna show what's going on. What's better? Let me see here. Get close, Jess. From the top. From the top. Right there. That's a good angle. All right. So already, this cuts really fast. All right. You can even use your edge of the block and get on there, because even sometimes when you have it directly flat on top, it might tend to sand here and here, and it really doesn't get here, because even though this is flat, it's not all surfaces are going to be perfect. All right. And I might even have to tilt the block a little bit to get these edges. And because this is 400 grit and everything else we're sanding prior to paint is 400, it wouldn't hurt if you even got this edge like this. Okay, maybe tilt it a little bit. And even run your finger, make sure you don't feel nothing sharp, no bumps or whatever, okay? This aluminum is pretty soft, okay? It's tough, but it's soft. You can sand it pretty well. But it's going to wear out your sandpaper really fast, okay? So one piece of sandpaper like this is going to be good enough for 2 of these, and then I got to get a new piece before starting. So progress happens pretty quick, but when it's a 5-star mag with 2 arms on each one, which is 10 times 4 rims, that's 40. That's when you find yourself taking all day. So now I'm getting close to seeing this where I like it. So before I consider this one done, my strokes are gonna be all the way from top to bottom. I'm gonna do a little demonstration and show you what happens if you do it the wrong way, and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like when you do it the correct way. This has a little dip here, so I'm actually working the block trying to get it to fit into the groove properly. We've got some gouges in here. All right. So, see, I'm going completely front to back. I might just there you go, the close up on that. So you see that? This is where we were just a couple minutes ago. This is where we are now.
Almost looks like stainless steel. Looks like the elevator walls, right? Look at that. This is 400 grit. If you go up to 6, it's going to get smoother and smoother. The lines are going to be less defined, and you're going to start to get more of a mirror finish. Now, you can do that if you want. If you see any imperfections when doing that, you're going to have to go back to your previous grit and get it out. So, let me show you what happens if, here, grab that. Don't turn it off. Tough for that button. Let me show you, get close. Let me show you what happens if you didn't sand it enough and you have imperfections left. Okay, get close on that. So you can see you still have little swirl marks in it. You do have a brushed finish, but you see that? Let me see, block the light. But you also have those swirls in there. So what you would do is you get right on them. Now, I kind of did this on purpose, but let me see. If you touch something that you already finished, if you accidentally touch it, you're gonna mess it up. So the camera's not picking it up. You see that? See those scratches? I'm doing this one, so anything, just the slightest screw up. You see that? It's gonna make you have to go back to it and get it out. So you just get in here. Last one before I get to work. Give it a good amount of pressure. Make sure you get your edges. These tires are going to need a lot of armor on when I'm done. In the beginning of the job, we're going to be careful trying not to hit the rim with the grinder, trying not to hit it with the DA. But after 5-6 hours and you're going on your 3rd day, there's nothing you can do about it. You know, so whatever, it's a tire. There's nothing Armor All can't fix on a tire, so it is what it is, man. I'm almost happy with this. All right, let me get this one straightened out. And that'll be it for this demo. All right. Pretty happy with these. See how close I can get before it's out of focus. Imperfections. Sometimes there's something the camera picks up that I can barely see that with the naked eye, but with the camera I can see that. That's cool. If you have a magnifying glass, use it. If you got an anal customer or you're trying to do a job that you're going to use to get you more work, if you want a job that speaks for itself and speaks for you, get a magnifying glass. All right, but for the most part, I'm going to tell you what, this is up close. From 2 feet away, you don't see none of that. You have a nice reflection on it. Once you wipe these clean, you know, from this angle you can see it now. But this is the one I did yesterday and I spent a lot of time on it. This one for sure is really nice. Little scuff. That could have even been from my ring, my wedding ring.
This right here, I'm gonna leave that alone like that, because for me to grind, I gotta get the grinder to get down to that, and what's gonna happen, this tip isn't gonna match the rest of them. It's gonna drop even lower and it's gonna be wider, because the lower you go is gonna widen up. I don't wanna mess it up. If you guys have any idea as to get that even better, my only guess is maybe all metal is kind of like Bondo, but it's metal, and the hardener for it is it looks like the fiberglass resin hardener, but it's orange. It's probably darker than this. You could probably fill that in with something, then touch it up with the silver paint that's close to it. But if you guys have any ideas, leave comments. But you can see how these sand strokes go in this direction, and in a fairly decent manner you have a nice transition. I'm happy with it. I'm really happy with it. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I'm gonna finish this. Hopefully the third video will be the finished product with the calipers done and all that good stuff. So thanks for watching, and I'll check you guys out later.